All right, Coach, I guess the obvious question is, and I'm going to be careful how I ask this because I don't want you to offer any opinions on officiating, but what exactly was the decision and the rules behind that decision?
Steve, we still don't know. Like, I'm talking, and our crew here was great, so I'm not Ray. I mean, they're literally almost apologizing to us as this is going on. But that's bad. That's not the interpretation of the rule. If it's an interpretation of the rule, then everybody should have been thrown out and it should have been a forfeit. But it was who came out of the dugout that we could identify, who didn't have a hoodie on, who my team was on the field. My team is literally on the field. What are they supposed to do? Not one of those kids that got kicked out was aggressive. They didn't come in aggressive. Nobody started a fight. They were on the field. They're coming off the field to congratulate their teammate, and my entire lineup gets taken out. That's what we're teaching kids. I mean, somebody who interpreted the rule, that's interpreted the wrong way. Because on both sides, like, everybody came out of the dugout. If that game wasn't on national TV, it's probably 2 warnings and we're still playing baseball. And it's just not, it's not acceptable. And for somebody to make the outcome of a game from somewhere else, I know those umpires that were here tonight wouldn't have made that decision. I promise you that. That wouldn't have happened if it was run from here. But it's other people trying to make decisions, and we're going to make a statement because it was a national TV game, and that's poor right there, very poor.
Steve, following up on that too, Hunter Hines is playing peacemaker in that situation, as you mentioned. If you're on the field, you can't leave the bench, and so did they offer any clarity about that at all?
We get nothing. That's what's bad. It's all coming from somewhere else by 2 or 3 people. And I don't understand how, like I said, I thought my guys were safe because I kept telling the umpires there, hey, my guys are on the field. And they go, Chris, we know. Your guys are on the field, you can't leave the dugout. So I'm feeling that whole, as we wait forever to make a decision. I can understand if the catcher and the guy who ran in, who had the altercation, got out, and then we could move on. But what we did tonight is we not only affected tonight, but you could possibly affect other games on 27-man rosters. Like, we did that. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm really, like I said, I probably need to shut up because I'll get in trouble for what I say, but that's poor. It put kids in positions they shouldn't be putting in. It put kids in, some guys never hit. What if they get hit or something? I mean, we're making, it's just poor.
Steve, so
you trying to get me fired?
No. Well, I'm moving on from that. Like, as far as communication with the league or anything of that nature about tomorrow's game, when do you expect to have those conversations and perhaps some answers?
Steve, I haven't even seen the play. I'm still processing, finishing the game, trying to figure out a lineup just to finish that. So that'll be when I leave here. We'll start to put that together and work on it there. But hopefully we'll make some sense. We'll slow down, say, hey, that wasn't right, appeal it or whatever we have to do, and look up and let's let the 2 teams play baseball. We work all year long. We're 13,000 people there. It's an intense moment. It's a huge play. Hey, I get we have a little tussle, but I had not one of my guys was aggressive in that. Not one guy was aggressive. No, not one guy was trying to start a fight in that. Everybody's coming off the field excited, and because we're all standing around and we didn't just stand in our spot, which is nobody is doing, both teams came out of the dugout. Like I said, both teams. But if they didn't see your number, they couldn't pick you. Well, then I'm sorry. Then that's just subjective. You're just picking and choosing what you want to do, and that's really poor. I don't even know. I'd like to know who made the decisions. That's what I'd like to know. And I still got to find that out.
Coach, I know the game is kind of taking a back seat on all this, but what did you think of the play of your kids?
Great ball game. It's 2-2 in the 8th. You make a great play. We had just had a good inning against their guy. We're coming in. I feel like we're about to put a good inning together. We had the top of our lineup. Monty makes a great throw on that play. I thought it was a really nice play. But I can't fault the effort of our kids. I can't even come in and yell at them. But what they just did, it doesn't make any sense. Like, what do you expect them to do? They're on the field. And my whole team got thrown out because they were on the field, and they're running into, that's the entrance of my dugout. And they're peacemaking. They're not fighting. They're not pushing. They're not yelling. There was none of that going on. But hey, if you leave your dugout, like I could understood if you threw a couple of my guys out in my dugout that came out of my dugout, but my team that was on the field, I needed to finish this. I'm sorry, I'm probably saying too much, but that was poor, you know. And I know they had a ton of kids, but they don't, you know, a couple here and there. You're telling me some of their guys just sat in the dugout? I don't believe that. I just don't think they could see it. And so we just made this subjective thing of what the TV or whatever would show me. So really poor. I'm really pissed because we're in the fight of the SEC race, and what's happening in between the lines for the student athletes, you don't get to see because of some silly rule, and then we're just going to subjectively pick and choose what we want to do and what we want to enforce. And I think it's poor.
All right, thank you guys. That's all we have for tonight.